what I have experienced with working with children, in a Muslim school is they don't have boundaries with certain touch. And I think that's a problem because if you don't know the difference between a good touch and a bad touch, especially when you're touching inappropriately and you don't know that that's wrong.
So with the grooming process and the adults who are tricking the children, it might start with rubbing on your shoulder. It might start with tapping you just to desensitize your body. So and to make the child feel like they're a willing participant. So with that being the case, you want to say uncomfortable touch because a child's first time you touch me in that place, I don't feel very comfortable. So we don't want to. We want to teach the children a good touch and an uncomfortable touch.
You may have parents, or I mean, not parents, but yeah, even parents or relatives that we kind of force our kids. We kind of use like, yeah, like go kiss Aunt such and such or give a hug to Uncle so and so. And I was like, subhanAllah, because this is
Yeah,
some stuff that actually used to happen to us often. Like some people in the family, they give you a weird vibe, and as a child, you kind of forced to go over there and kiss and hug these people.
قول الصوارم كي تسترد حتى الأراذيل ساموا رسول أهل العزائم قول الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم حتى الأراذيل ساموا رسول أهل العزائم قول الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم 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 حتى قول الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم حتى قول الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم.
All right, assalamu alaikum everyone. So good that you're finally here. I know this workshop we've been trying to get it through for a couple of weeks now, right, Sharia?
yes,
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So I'm glad we were able to do it. So just a little bit about what Muslim Peer Services does and why we're here. So our goal is really to create a culture of healing and wellness for all of humanity using the core principles of Islam and the 8 dimensions of wellness to foster long-term recovery for those who face mental health and substance misuse challenges. So we're a group of peer support specialists that really try to help those in their recovery, inshallah, for those of you that are viewing us for the first time, inshallah. So we have a special guest today, Sharia, Miss Sharia Schultz, and I just want to read her bio a little bit. Very extensive, alhamdulillah, and if she wants to add anything else to that, she can do that as well. So let's get started on that. So Ms. Sharia Schultz is the founder and CEO of Buddy Speaks Foundation, a non-for-profit organization dedicated to educating and empowering communities to help prevent child sexual abuse. A Philadelphia native, now living in Delaware with her 2 children, Sharia is also an author and a former co-anchor of Islam TV radio show where she spoke on women and family issues. She holds a Master of Science degrees from Shaini University and an early childhood certification from Lincoln University, with over 20 years of experience as a special education teacher across the U.S. and abroad, including the United Arab Emirates. She is a survivor herself. Sharia turned her pain into purpose. Her experiences inspired the creation of the Buddy Speaks Foundation, where she develops workshops to educate parents, empower children, and raise awareness in schools and communities. She also launched the heartfelt Teddy Bears for Survivors campaign, bringing comfort and hope to children impacted by the trauma of sexual assault. In addition to her advocacy work, she actively serves her community by feeding the homeless and providing resources for families in need. She is the author of My Voice is My Superpower, a book created to help parents start the conversation about body safety and boundaries, and is currently pursuing a second master's degree in school counseling to further support and advocate for youth. Her contributions have earned her numerous honors, including the Beacon of Light Award from UMM Masjid, KYW News Radio's Game Changer Award, and a City of Philadelphia citation for the Women Impact Awards. Although Sharia is a survivor herself, she continues to amplify her voice to educate, advocate, and empower survivors everywhere. So I hope that I did your bio justice. Mashallah, I'm really excited of all the work that you've done. I've followed you for a while, alhamdulillah. So I'm really, really excited that you're here with us today,
Alhamdulillah,
inshallah.
mashallah. I was listening saying, wow, who is this Sharia? I would love to meet her.
Mashallah.
Mashallah. Once again, I can't thank you enough for allowing me to come and be a part of your platform and amplify my voice. It allows other survivors that are silent to see that it is okay to speak about this, and it's okay to be silent too. And sometimes, when you're a survivor, you're always fighting battles that are connected back to your trauma, one way or the other. So each time we speak about it, although, it may have happened, my healing journey may have started 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever the case, the trauma, there's always something that may trigger it, may remind you. And talking about it, doing advocacy work, it just gives you more strength, and it gives people understanding, and it takes away the shame and the blame. So thank you once again for allowing me to be here as a voice for the voiceless.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Thank you. So we really we want to get right into it. I really want to know your journey and really what started you really to motivate Buddy Speaks, because I was really interested in a little bit of that story. So if you can just kind of shed some light as to how that kind of came about.
I Throughout my teaching experiences, I've worked in several different institutions, and one of them was I was living in United Arab Emirates. Everyone calls Dubai UAE, but Dubai is just one of the Emirates. So I'll just say Dubai for people that don't know. And when I was teaching there were a lot of children who were suffering from sexual abuse. And, in that country, it wasn't talked about. And one particular day, they shut down all teaching for the day. And each grade, we went and we had an assembly. And they spoke about it because it was just running rapid in our schools. We were working in an all boys school. So that was the first thing. And then when I came back from UAE, I was connected with a young man who's very dear to me. And he had a trigger. And when he had the trigger, he disclosed his abuse. He disclosed that he was being abused at the age of 4 until 7 and by a woman. And this boy, like I said, he was and he wasn't just sexually abused by her. He was sexually abused. I mean, this boy, he was very, very dear to me. And I became his safe space, and I became his voice. And through that, I decided to create Buddy Speaks because of my own experience, because of what this child went through, because of what other children, me being a special ed teacher. I'm in the classroom a lot of times with students who have emotional support issues, learning disabilities. I worked in the prisons where women were in there and they didn't have their GEDs, they didn't have their high school diplomas, and they all were impacted by some type of trauma. So I said, you know what? It's time to break the silence. I want to educate people, not just because of the little guy, but because of what I experienced as well. Because in the Black community, in all communities, but especially in our community and in the Muslim community, we don't want to talk about it. We're not educated. And we put this responsibility on children. You better tell. You better not sit on anyone's lap. And that is far from how you protect children from sexual assault. That's just one small aspect.
Yeah, I mean that's everything that you're saying resonates. I'm an educator for over 20 years, and I work in a Muslim school. Um, Alhamdulillah, we haven't really heard, many cases like this. There might be cases that are going around, but what I have experienced with working with children, in a Muslim school is they don't have boundaries with certain touch. And I think that's a problem because if you don't know the difference between a good touch and a bad touch, especially when you're touching inappropriately and you don't know that that's wrong, that's where me as an educator have stepped in because maybe they weren't taught that, for their parents or, siblings or even, uncles and aunts. It might be natural for them to either, you know, hit a certain way or just touch in certain areas, but we know growing up like this is inappropriate. So I think one of the questions would be, what are some of the signs to look for in children if you know that they might be getting touched inappropriately? What are some of the signs that an adult or someone can look for so that they can have these conversations with them or even speak to another administrator or an advisor to help them have those conversations?
Well, the one thing first, before I speak about the signs, is I want to just circle back around with the word good touch, bad touch. Prevention educators, we've thrown that out the window. Why? Because a bad touch turns into a good touch that feels good with the body. So children don't distinguish. I know it's bad, but it feels good. Your body naturally responds to a touch. And with child sexual assault, there's a grooming process. And there's a process where it doesn't start with, like the brutal rape where, someone meets you and someone jumps out of the alleyway, rip your clothes off and rape you. That's not how it goes. So with the grooming process and the adults who are tricking the children, it might start with rubbing on your shoulder. It might start with tapping you just to desensitize your body. So, and to make the child feel like they're a willing participant. So, with that being the case, you want to say uncomfortable touch because a child's first time you touch me in that place, I don't feel very comfortable. So we don't want to. We want to teach the children a good touch and an uncomfortable touch, a touch that makes you feel your body feel weird, strange. So some of the signs we have signs that are physical signs, the obvious ones, rips. For anyone that's listening, um, at this moment, I'm going to say some things, and if you feel like you're being triggered, it might bring up some feelings or emotions. Please allow yourself to remove yourself from the conversation and come back. You know, take a deep breath. If you need some help, you feel free to talk to Sister Asia, talk to everyone on here, and we are here available for you. So let me go back. So the physical signs, it's, the obvious bleeding in the private areas, STDs, odors from the private area, rashes, rips and tears, blood in the underwear, blood in the clothes. And then you also have behavior signs, wetting the bed, withdrawal, becoming over sexualized, watching pornography, watching pictures. You can even have a child as young as 4, 3, masturbating. excessive masturbating, not where they're just exploring their private part because, oh, I have this, looking at private parts, overeating, use of drugs. They want to escape, use of drugs, overeating, not eating, self harm, cutting your arms, cutting your neck, cutting your thighs, cutting your legs, the inside of your legs, becoming afraid of particular places, particular people. Um, Lying is a big, big part because the children have to carry a lie. So then they start lying about things, making up stories that don't sound, they sound like they're stories, but they're not stories. Um, I know I'm forgetting some, but bedwetting, aggression, you know, promiscuity, drug use, complaints of stomach aches, complaints of headaches. Um, those are just to name a few. I had a few, but those are some of the signs. A child that wants to not be around a person, not want to go to a place, or always wants to be around a person or a particular place. And a child that says, they say it to you, a child that has knowledge of sexual, you know, a 3-year-old should know that they have a penis and a girls have a vulva and a vagina, but talking about it and participating or displaying adult sexual behaviors, those are red flag behaviors. And these things happen and we miss them. We miss them. If a child tells you someone touched them, believe them right away the first time.
Mhm.
Always say they're guilty until proven innocent versus they're innocent until proven guilty. Because 2%, only 2% of children, survivors, lie about being assaulted. So out of 100%, only 2% lie. So believe them right the first time.
For sure. Sound like a sister.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa
Thank you so
barakatuh.
much for coming on. I appreciate it. There was something that you said years ago. I know you won't remember this, but I remember. So
Okay.
it was something that you said years ago, and it was about how sometimes you may have parents, or I mean not parents, but yeah, even parents or relatives that we kind of force our kids. We kind of use like, yeah, like go kiss Aunt such and such or give a hug to Uncle so and so. And I was like, subhanAllah. Because this is
Yeah.
some stuff that actually used to happen to us often. Like some people in the family that give you a weird vibe. And as a child, you kind of forced to go over there and kiss and hug these people. And you don't really feel safe in their presence. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow. So my question to you is, even on those lines is like, at what age do you really start trying to teach your children? Do you wait for the signs, or is there a certain age you say, like, you know what, at this particular age, you start teaching them how to, guard themselves and what's appropriate, what's not, who can touch, who can't. Like, when do you get into that?
There's something called the body safety rules, which is a set of 5 rules that we teach children,
Mm-hmm.
and we should start that conversation before they turn 5. When I am changing a child's pamper, I say, I'm going to change your pamper. I'm going to wipe your penis. And I have the conversation. And I'm only wiping your penis because I have to clean it. But nobody should touch your penis in the back. Even if it's a child, because we want to start those conversations. Why is it important to teach a child the body safe about the name of their private part? If someone touches them inappropriately, we want them to be able to, without a shadow of a doubt, disclose that they have been abused.
Mm-hmm.
He touched my penis. She touched my breast. She touched my vulva. Because when we call it private names, we call it Cookie or Petunia or Micah Knight, then it makes the child afraid to talk about the body parts. It makes them afraid, and it's a part of the body.
Mm-hmm.
So if you talk about it, it becomes normal. When the 4-year-old boy disclosed their abuse, The 4-year boy said, I was afraid that they were going to touch me in my penis the way that she did because she touched me and it hurt.
Mm.
So, without a shadow of a doubt, this boy disclosed that he was being raped by this woman. And he would constantly use that word. There was a
Mm.
little girl, she was in preschool, and she would go to school and she would say, that's a real story. My uncle either licked my cookie or taste my cookie. My uncle, and she did it for several days, quite a while. The teacher didn't catch it because you're just thinking, oh, your uncle ate your cookies.
Mm.
Later, come to find out, she was just trying to disclose that she was being sexually abused, that she was being touched, but they didn't catch her disclosure right away. Why? Because she was taught it was her cookie. And let me tell you something.
Mm.
Children aren't uncomfortable. Children aren't afraid. It's we as the adults that are uncomfortable.
True.
We don't want to, oh, don't say that word is bad. The kids don't have a clue. All right, penis, my penis.
Mm-hmm.
They know whatever word you teach them. So, yes, we should start the conversation before they're 5. But most importantly, you know what else we should do? We have to have the conversation with the adults that we leave our children in care of.
Mm.
And it's going to be some very uncomfortable conversations. And people are going to get very mad at you, right? But that's okay because I would rather be uncomfortable with them than to be uncomfortable with my child who may disclose that they were abused. So anyone that's in your child is in the care, say, listen, just want to let you know before I leave my kid here that we go over the body safety rules. And I teach my child I teach them in their private parts. I teach my child that they don't have to obey anyone, any authority figure if it makes them feel uncomfortable, if it makes them feel unsafe, if they're breaking the body safety rules. Have that conversation. My children, and ask them about what the children are watching, everything. And let me tell you what that does. It lets that person know that you are aware. It lets that person know that you are having these conversations at home. And what else it does is it makes the person who may try to groom you and groom your children go somewhere else. And these
Mm.
are what sexual offenders who are in treatment programs have said. If there's a child who knows the body safety rules and their parents talk about body safety, I am going to run far away from that child and I'm going to go get another one because sexual assault is in the world of secrecy.
Mm.
So it's like, oh, y'all talk about it, so you're going to get me caught. So I'm going to go find this other kid who parents don't talk about it at all. So we should talk about it right away. Talk about it when they're little. If you haven't started talking about it, it's never too late.
Mm-hmm. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. And just one follow up because I know my wife is going to get me.
Because listen.
Go ahead.
We don't want to talk about it when we see the red flags
Right.
because where there's smoke, there's fire.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be proactive, not reactive. Because if we see the red flags, that means that something is going on. And by that time, that child may have been threatened. That child may have already been abused. That child may have been exposed to things. And that child may be ashamed, embarrassed, hurting. We want to catch it. We want to catch it. And we have to say something.
Mm-hmm.
We can't. I don't care if it's the imam. I don't care if it's your mother. I don't care if it's your favorite cousin. I don't care if it's your wife or your husband. Speak up because your number one responsibility is to protect the child, not the adult.
That's so true. It's very true. And that brings me to my next follow-up question. Like when you're teaching a child about these body safety rules and things of that nature, and let's say they are getting touched at that point, how do you teach the kid to react to the touch? Like, do you teach them to shout? Do they kick? Do they make noise? Like, what do they do? You know, because I would assume, and I'm not sure, that sometimes a reaction like that can trigger the person who's, doing the action and can cause more harm than good sometimes. It depends on the situation. What do you teach in that regard?
So one of the body safety rules is that you have a safety circle. A safety circle is a group of 5 people. You teach your child that your child feels comfortable with.
Mm.
group of 5 people that they can tell if someone has broken the body safety rule. And we teach the children, and they name them. Who do they feel comfortable with? And you constantly review with those people. Why? Because one of those 5 people could end up being someone that's unsafe to your child.
Mm.
So these are the people that your child. Okay, let's pick 5 people. You can use your hand. You could say you could draw a hand. I teach this in my book too. You could draw a hand, and for each finger, let's name the person and write their names or draw a picture of them and say these are the 5 people. If you feel unsafe or scared or weird or uncomfortable, and someone breaks the body safety rule, you can tell them right away. And
Mm.
then you teach your child, if the first person doesn't do something, you go to the second person. If the second person doesn't do something, you go to the third, and you keep telling and telling and telling until someone does something. It's important. Some kids may not have 5, they may have 3, but it can't be one. And one of the people cannot be in your family. Why? Families protect family. If I'm on your child's, if I'm a part of your child's safety circle,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are, I'm making that phone call. I'm calling those folks on you. I'm reporting. But if Aunt Jane, Uncle Rasul, Aunt Sadiqa, Uncle, if everyone is in a family, it's like, oh, what goes on in the family stays in the family. We're just going to deal with it inside of the family. And then here's the child left unprotected. And then what happens from there? The child continuously experiences the trauma, think that it's okay, or, have other type of adverse behaviors as a result. You can teach the child if someone tries to touch them or rub on them, teach them you can come and tell me right away. You can say stop, but honestly, a 3-year old of a 30-year old, are they
Mm-hmm.
really going to stand up to that person? But
Right.
you can teach them, teach them to use their voice. No, mommy said we teach children we don't keep secrets,
Mm.
only surprises. Sexual assault lies in the world of secrecy. So even if you play in the game, you teach your child, we don't keep secrets, surprises. So if someone tells you this is our secret, even if it's mommy said you can't have soda, but I'm gonna give you a soda, but it's our secret. No, 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 no. Mommy said we can't keep secrets. Secrets is a no-no in our family.
Mm.
Why? That person will know. Oh shoot, let me leave this kid alone because they don't keep secrets.
Mm-hmm.
They don't keep secrets. We teach them support because a secret is never ever supposed to be broken or told. A surprise is I got your mommy an e-gift. I got daddy an e-gift. It's a surprise. We're going to tell him later. So you can teach your children to speak up. You can teach your child to say, no, I don't want you to touch my hair. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm the boss of my body. That's what I teach in my book. And I do workshops too to teach the children, you're the boss of your body. Your body belongs to you. I
Mm.
never make my child when we go into the mat. Well, my kids are 19 and 20 now, so they don't do it anyway. But I never make them, I'm not going to force you to go and speak to anyone. But even when they were younger, when we came back from, overseas, overseas was a everybody just Boosie collar. Everybody had to kiss, everybody had to hug. And I'm just like, no, you don't have to kiss. And when we came back from overseas, because we lived there for 5 years, everyone wanted to kiss my children, hug my children, and I would be like, listen, my children, they don't feel comfortable because my children really did not feel comfortable,
Mm.
and their bodies would cringe, and people would get upset, and I would have to explain to them. No, and I tell children, I will never ever make you hug me. If I see a child I haven't seen, if they run up to me, Sister Sharia, I'm giving hugs, bear hugs, everything. But if I see them, I'll never say, give me a hug.
Mm-hmm.
Teach your child they can give a high five. They can determine how they want to greet a person. And the adult has to be adult enough to not get upset, to not get offended, and an adult never put the pressure on a child to feel like they got a hug. You don't even know if this child is being sexually abused and their body feels so unsafe and uncomfortable, and you're forcing them to hug. And you shouldn't. You
Yeah.
shouldn't do that. We have to get into we have to get used to empowering children by
Mm.
letting them make the choice. And we don't do that. We don't allow children. I've even had parents shocked at me because they say, get over there and hug Sister Trina. I say, no. You do not have to hug. And I get down on that level. You do not have to hug me unless you want to. I will never ever make you give me a hug. If you want a high five, you can give me a high five. If you want a fist pump, if you want an air five, or if you just want to wave, you never ever have to do anything you don't want to do. And the kid be like,
Hmm.
yes.
Right.
That's what we need to do in the classrooms. Because let's be honest, there are imams out here that rape children. There are children being raped in Quran school. You're leaving your child to study Quran and they are being abused, but they're not saying anything. And a child has to always feel like my parents are going to believe me.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think I answered like 5 questions.
No,
Did
but
I
that's
answer the first question?
no, you did. You did. It's a beautiful thing because we did a
I'm not
whole
sure.
episode on something like this before, but from an adult perspective, like what happens when, like you said, when you don't have these boundaries and safety rules. So we see what happens to these children when they grow up. They end up in programs like the ones that I work in, substance abuse programs, you know, uh, DV shelters and all of these different things. It's very hard to stomach and see, inshallah. But these are conversations that we have to have in order for us to try to combat some of this. Certainly.
Yes, we definitely have to have it. We have to have it with our family members. Um, I'll be quiet. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, no, that's mashallah. Any gems you throw our way, just keep them coming, keep them coming.
Thank
But
you.
I did have a question. Like, as I was telling you before, coming from an educational background, one of the questions that I had was, how can a school or community organization better support body safety education for kids and families? Because again, we're also coming from a cultural perspective, and we have to really, I don't want to say like be careful on what we say, but the way we talk with these parents, we have to kind of let them understand this is the reality, and a lot of the times they don't understand that. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have to teach children boundaries. A lot of the kids, they don't understand what boundaries are. I'll give you an example. I teach both boys and girls. However, I'm a homeroom to a boys class. And with boys, they're constantly smacking each other on the behind, all of these things. And then when I asked them, I said, boys, this is not appropriate behavior. Why are you doing this? You know what the first thing they said was? Well, they do it on the games. We see it on football games. We see it on this. So you see what I mean? Like certain things like that, they don't understand that this is inappropriate touch. So with I think more of my question is how to really let the parents know that this is not appropriate. I tell them. So in my class, they understand not to do that. But then going home, how would they know the difference if they're thinking that this is such a natural thing? So this
Because
is one of the things that we face with them.
because it would body safety education is I'm from the philosophy that it's 2 parts. 50% of it is educating the children, and 50% of it is educating the parents. You can't educate the child and not you can't empower the child and not educate the parents. Because like you said, I teach body safety workshops. I created a workshop with my book, and I have it for the younger children and the older children. And I can teach the child, but then they go back home and the parents don't know anything. It's just like it lasts for a small amount of time. But the parents are the ones that are responsible. The administrations in the school have to have conversations with the experts, have to be open with bringing this into their schools, bringing it into their classrooms. In the public schools, we have it. We have to have it. It's mandatory to teach the children. Now, parents can sign something to say they don't want their children to learn it. I kind of give a parent a red flag. I give them the side eye. If you're telling me no, your child can't learn about body safety. Why? Why don't you want your child? Unless like it might trigger your child or something like that. I understand. But we have to change it within our administration. We have to change it with our parents, have workshops for our parents because it starts with the parents. It got to the point where my kids would say, I know, mom. I was like, to have the conversations. But it was a beautiful thing because when my daughter was working for a company, and they this person in the family was trying to groom her, and they would constantly say little things, and she spoke up and said, "Mom, he makes me feel uncomfortable. This is what he says." And then, alhamdulillah, I was able to right away say, "Listen, you make my," I approached them and they stopped. I said, "You make my daughter feel uncomfortable." And this is what she's saying. But I also removed my daughter from the environment too. But, these are the things that we have to do. We have to be brave and not worried about these adults. Our children have to be more important than our children's safety have to be more important than the relationships with the children. I mean, with the adults.
Yeah, certainly. And subhanallah, the one of the things I want to talk about is before we get off is the resources. I know that you wrote a book. I would like you to please talk about your book, the name, the title, where we can get it, where should parents get it, how we can get in contact with you for maybe doing some of these workshops for our programs in schools and masajid, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. The name of my book is called My Voice is My Superpower. If you are in the United States, go to www.buddyspeaks.org, or you can go on my website. I mean, go on my, if you go on the Buddy Speaks page, you can click the link in my bio. You can also contact me directly and I can send it out to you. If you order from the website or you order from me directly, you get a free coloring page and an autographed copy. Because see, when I get on Oprah,
There you go.
all of you're gonna be like, "Oh, I got my autographed copy."
Mashallah.
Mashallah. You can you can you can reach me directly. I mean, I don't put I have two phone numbers. I don't put my regular phone number online for the whole world to see. I have another one. Um, like I said, you can reach me. Follow me on Sharia_shows. I'm on Instagram.
Alhamdulillah.
And that's an open page for you. Go to Buddy Speaks. That's an open page. And go to the website. This is a good time to catch me. Because it's the summertime. I am a school teacher. I teach summer school, but that's Monday through Thursday. So I'm open on Fridays. So this is like a perfect time if anyone wants me to come into the community. My schedule is really, really tight during the school year because I'm in school and I'm working, but it's not as challenging during the summertime. And I would love to come out. I teach adult workshops and children workshops. We have a workshop for the younger children where I read the book. I teach the body safety rules. All the children receive a cape and they decorate their cape. And we talk about, my voice is my superpower. I'm in Delaware. And then we have one for the older kids where they paint the canvas. And the canvas says it has the superheroes. And we go over the body safety rules. And then we have workshops for the teens. We have I have quite a few workshops, and my book is on Amazon too. But when for people if they're not in the tri-state area, if they're not in the United States, you can go on Amazon. But if you buy it directly from me, you get a little extra treats.
Alhamdulillah. That's
And
the
it's
way
the
to
same
go.
cost. It's like, it's
Alhamdulillah.
$17.99 on Amazon. It's $17.99 for me. It's better to buy directly from the author because
Mhm.
you're helping out the young author versus Amazon big business. They're I self-published, so it's on Amazon, but you can get it directly from me too. And please follow the pages so that we can grow the audience and get more people. You'll see on my Sharia Shows page, I'll be talking about a couple of things, my kids, I talk about my kids. I talk about my journey with walking. I used to use exercise as a way to help me deal with my triggers, deal with my trauma, deal with my pain. I injured myself and my running career is over, but I just started
SubhanAllah.
subhanAllah, and I've run so many half marathons.
Mhm.
And then I tore my meniscus and
Mm.
cartilage bone to bone. So I just started being able to walk without pain. But I
Alhamdulillah.
did 2 miles today, so that's a big
That's good.
deal. And
I saw that.
exercise.
MashaAllah. You definitely inspired me to do walk, because I know you did like 7 miles one time. I said, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna, because I
I
love walking.
ran. I
I want to
ran
exercise, but I want
7
to walk.
Savannah. I used
So,
to hate
yeah,
walking. I hated walking. I only liked to walk when I had to cool down. But now that's just all I can do because subhanAllah.
Yes.
That's my test from Allah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So yeah, it was definitely, thank you so much for coming. All the
You're welcome.
information, all the stuff that's subhanAllah that you gave up. And I want to just say before we get out of here, and then I want to give you the last word. Um,
I'm, I'm going to
is
put
that
my
uh,
information in the chat too,
sure,
okay?
sure. And when we edit this video, we'll put all the information up on the screen so you'll be able to see it, inshallah.
Okay.
But yeah, but definitely, I want to say that this is not just like sometimes when men hear this stuff, they think about little girls only. And I want to, yeah, you got to be very, very, you got to understand, like a lot of people, especially like even myself and my wife, we went to Catholic schools when we was young.
Oh
So
my God.
we are
Sure.
very aware of how,
Much
this
abuse.
thing can go out of control with these priests. And the same thing, like you said, with the
And the
imams and anyone
nuns.
else and
And
the
the
nuns.
nuns.
So, oh yeah, for sure. For sure. My
Mm.
wife has some stories. She worked in a rectory, so she has some stories. But subhanAllah, yeah. We just have to be very mindful. We have to pay attention to our children. Like a lot of us, we're around our children, but we don't pay attention to their behaviors and their habits. We have to be
Yup.
very aware about what they're doing, how they're acting, if they're a little bit more, because even we notice, like, okay, they say teenagers, they kind of be more reclusive. They'll go to their rooms more and they'll do certain things. Yeah, but sometimes that's a sign. It's not just they're
Mention
being
that as
teenagers.
a sign.
Yeah.
That's the number one sign. Withdrawing
Mm-hmm.
something, lose interest from things that they used to like and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy. Wearing big baggy clothes. I mean, we're Muslim, so we wear clothes, but big baggy clothes because now it's like I don't want anyone to look at me, look at my body. I want to wear something, dressing, dressing like a boy, dressing like a
Subhanallah.
girl. That's
Subhanallah.
so real though. When yes, we say it's choice.
Mm-hmm.
They, oh, I want to be like this, but so many people who have become, you know, this way of life for them have
Mm-hmm.
experienced some form of sexual assault. They have.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like we always teach too, when you see someone who is having some issues, let's say later on in life, we always teach that, when you talk to or you approach somebody, you always assume that there's some type of trauma when you're talking to them, right? And it's because
Absolutely.
you want to walk up with that, have that sensitivity. You don't want to come off as being unempathetic.
Right.
Yeah, and it's hard because I tell a story, and I'm gonna end with this one, and then I'm gonna let Sister Schultz take it, and then we can close. Inshallah, is that there was one sister that I said, well, I met in a program, and she was in a wheelchair. Obviously, she's been struggling with drugs and alcohol for many years. She was down to nothing. She's suffering from cancer. It's a lot of things. It's just she lost a leg, all these different things, and she lost her teeth, so it's hard to understand her, right? But one day she just grabbed me. We was in a group. I was having one of my peer support groups, and she said it in public. That's the only reason why I repeat it. It wasn't in the group. It was outside the group. She was saying it outside, and she said, "I'm glad you had this group because it gave me an opportunity to talk about some things that I never used to talk about." And what happened to her was that she was molested, sexually assaulted by her father, got pregnant by her father. They took the
Oh,
baby,
Lord.
sent the baby down south. Like this was in the 70s. It sent the baby down south. She doesn't get to see the baby. So then from then on, trying to cope with that trauma, she turned to drugs and alcohol. And that started
Yeah.
her spiral and her journey. So
Yeah.
that's why we want to say it's very important for these parents, for us as parents and grandparents and stuff to, get these body safety tips and these rules. Order the sister's book because there's not many of us, especially Muslims, who are dealing in, in this sort of in this sphere at all, that are talking about these things. So when you see the sister, she's an expert, she knows what she's talking about, and these are things that we really and truly don't talk about in our schools, we don't talk about in our homes. This is very important, and people don't realize, like, I take it personally because certain things have happened to me at a young age, and I talked to my wife about this, that keeps me away, that I figured out for a while why I didn't like aggressive women. And somebody approached me in any way, I'll back up immediately because of stuff that happened to me as a child
Right.
from relatives, and sometimes it's not even, we thinking it's adults. These are just, some of them are children like you. They just might be like 3 or 4 years older than you. So in subhanAllah, we have to be mindful of what our kids is going through, but we can't be ignorant. We can't stay ignorant, and we have to, get invested in our children, and get involved with these, with people in our community trying to warn us about the signs and stuff. Because we can stop
Yeah,
a lot of things if we just pay attention. So, guys, Sister Schultz,
absolutely.
take it away, inshallah.
You're welcome. Yes, absolutely. And one of the things, Oprah Winfrey has this book in it called "What Happened to You," and that's one of, I love that. It's not what's wrong with you; it's what happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
When you see signs, when you see these red flags, learn and understand what red flag behaviors are. But most importantly, learn how to learn what sexual assault is. I have a workshop. It's a 3-hour workshop that I created for adults
Mm-hmm.
to teach them about sexual assault, teach them from A to Z, like what is sexual assault, what is non-sexual contact, what is the physical contact of sexual assault. We go over what if scenarios, we go over what grooming is, because people don't even know what grooming is. The grooming process may take a year or may take 2 years just you know, to get you to gain the trust
Mm-hmm.
so that they can come around and so that they can abuse you. You know, children are extremely vulnerable. So be open to like I said, shattering these glass ceilings, breaking down these barriers, learning the information so that you can protect your children. It's not just teaching the children the body safety rules, but you yourself as an adult knowing what sexual assault is, knowing how sexual people that commit sexual crimes against children, knowing what they do, knowing how they think, and knowing what you can say
Mm-hmm.
and how that you can protect your children so that they can feel safe and they don't have to go through what so many of us went through.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, 90% of children who are sexually assaulted are abused by people that they know, people that they trust, and people that they love, because these are the people that have access to our children.
Mm-hmm.
So let's come together, become educated, become brave, and protect our children.
MashaAllah. Barakallah fiqh, sister. I appreciate you.
Thank you so
MashaAllah.
much.
All right. Thank
You're
y'all for
welcome.
coming out. SubhanAllah. Go ahead, Sister Nairi, close us out.
Who,
She's
me?
paused. No, Sister
No,
Nairi.
no.
Sister Nairi's paused over there. You
Okay.
stop. Okay. Okay. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Ameen. Thank you so much, sister. Assalamu
You're
alaikum
welcome.
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh,
Assalamualaikum.
everybody. Wa alaikum salam, sister Nasu. And then we lost some people on the way because of the glitch. But alhamdulillah, we'll catch them on the rebound with the recording, inshallah. All right.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for watching our video. Please subscribe, like, and share at Muslim Peer Services. Assalamu alaikum.